Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Adventures in Truth livecast. My name is Jim Case. I am the host of the show and excited that you're here and excited that I'm here and looking forward to a great show. Our topic today is getting to know your emotional guidance system. And if you've not had this conversation before, you're not familiar with the concept of the emotional guidance system, I think you'll find this show very interesting. This gives us a new way to really kind of address and deal with the emotional part of ourselves, and a way of looking at it that I think is way more empowering and empowering ultimately about how we can work with the emotions and how we work with the emotions to have them be indicators to guide us in our experience with our alignment, to guide us in our experience with our alignment to the things that we want or to whatever it is we want to align to. So this is going to be a really powerful conversation, and I'm going to also be talking a little bit differently about this emotional guidance system. I learned about this originally through law of attraction, and it is a powerful concept. But I've kind of tapped into some more stuff with it to me that even takes it to another level, because I think one of the things that I think is amazing about what they do with the law of attraction work and what that's all about is that when she is talking to people, when she's engaging people, she's always speaking directly to their spirit, to the larger part of them. And that even when they show up in their ego, when their questions are fired out of ego and out of confusion and out of whatever emotional state they're in, she always speaks to the spirit of the person, the soul of the person. And that really brought something to light for me about understanding emotions, because in this kind of dualistic experience where we have an ego and we have a soul, there are two different experiences of the emotional body that I think are important to kind of lay out and dissect. But we are going to be going through chapter 11 of Fear is a Choice, my book, which is specifically about that. But then I'll be adding some more additional material to that as we go forward in the conversation today to kind of expound on that idea of understanding the ego emotional experience and the spirit or soul emotional guidance experience. So it's going to be a great show. I'm glad you're here. If you are wherever you are, however you're seeing the show, if you're on E360 TV, I appreciate you so much for being here, for checking out the show, for being a part of the show. If you would like to interact with the show, if you head to Facebook, to the Adventures in Truth Facebook page, there where the live is showing, you can type questions or comments into the comment section. They'll come to me in the studio and I'll be able to respond to them live while we're on the air. So as we're going through this, if there are things you would like to question or ask about, please feel free to. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, wherever you might be watching or listening, please like or subscribe, and even more particularly, share the window. If you're on Facebook and you see the live window, share it to your group, share it to your people. Let people become more aware of the Adventures in Truth experience. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for being here. And we will be back right after this. Yes. FearisAChoiceBook.com. I just wanted to run that commercial at the beginning of the show because we're going to spend the show on the chapter in the book. So shifting on to the year of conscious creation, and my world is good. 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 How's yours? How's your world? Are you focused into this movement? Are you dialed into this transformational process that we have going on this year? This is the year of conscious creation, self-appointed year of conscious creation, because what I wanted to see, what I wanted to experience this year was a change in the momentum that had been building in the mass consciousness. So, the mass consciousness being all of the thoughts and beliefs and ideas that we all have that hold this physical reality together. But the underpinnings of that have been really entrenched in a lot of kind of negative, not kind of, in negative, old, outdated things that and concepts and ideas and beliefs that no longer really serve humanity as a whole. They serve a select few people and not the whole or the planet for that matter. And so this was a movement created to help starting to change to help to start to change that momentum. And so my world is good is a way of taking these 7.5 to 8 billion unique worlds that inhabit the earth. And those unique worlds are each of us individually. And they are worlds because we are creating them. We are manifesting our world. We are in the process every moment of every day, creating and creating and creating. And so within that context, it's understanding that nobody can live your life for you. No one can choose your life for you. No one can choose the things in your life for you without you participating in some way, shape, or form. And so this movement was about let's bring an energy to each of our worlds that would be recognized easily in the context of us coming together. So however we come together, if we are all doing this process of my world is good and building that goodness in our world and focusing into it, remember you're feeling it, you're getting deeply into the feeling of it, and you are appreciating as you are looking out through your perception, appreciating the things in your world currently as you are looking and saying my world is good, my world is good, my world is good, and you feel that and then you speak it out loud and then you feel it even more deeply. You are creating new neural pathways in your brain. You are creating new outcomes in your world. You are creating a new momentum of energy that as we come together individually, that we collectively build an incredible flood of energy that is about goodness. And that we begin to build the perceptions of goodness because we are building it from within. And so our perception is simply our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs broadcast in front of us that we are seeing the state of our life in, the state of our world. And so this is a way of really driving that goodness home, really driving that message home. And it's easy to join because it just requires your energy, focus, and intention and attention. So my world is good. Check it out. If you see it online, join in, share your stories, share the information as it goes out. I send out things every other day. Supporting my world is good. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with the people that you love so that they too can participate because it's an internal process. It's us generating all this goodness in our world and then sharing that with those around us so that we continue to build an even bigger and bigger and bigger energy and bigger consciousness of goodness in the world. So my world is good. I hope your world is good. Join me in this movement. Love to have you. Appreciate you very much. And we'll be back right on the other side of this break. All right. I am excited to talk this conversation today. Getting to know your emotional guidance system is chapter 11 from Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love. And here, let me see if I can't throw one up here for you to see. Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love. My book is coming up on a year of its release. It's been doing very well. I'm very happy and so deeply gratified by all of you out there who have gotten the book, who share your experiences, who've left reviews, who share the book with others because it is that impactful. And I'm excited to share it with you and to share this chapter with you. So let's dive right in, shall we? We'll get an intro going and then we're going to go into a moment of focus so that we can really focus into this idea of the emotional guidance system and how it works. So getting to know your emotional guidance system, chapter 11. In chapter 3, I gave you a brief introduction to the concept of our emotional guidance system. In this chapter, we're going to do a deep dive into it. Happiness, sadness, excitement, depression, anger, apathy, satisfaction, etc. In other words, it has no more weight than any other emotion, despite the fact that we also often give it more weight in our consciousness. So why do we have a tendency to want to demonize fear, go after it, attack it, and destroy it? Because we've been trained to do so. We are told to confront our fears and get back on the horse, have nerves of steel, and other similar idioms as a way of combating this demon among us. As a result, we often feel the need to strike out against this thing that is zapping our talent, strength, power, ability, and success. In fact, we have given fear so much of our power that we have incarnated it and given it life as though it were its own entity. When we demonize fear, we put massive resistance into an already resistant situation. No one wants to fan the flames of fear, yet that's precisely what scores of people do in putting greater and greater attention on slaying it. Instead, I invite you to embrace an entirely different view of fear, and indeed of all of our human emotions, and that is within the context of our emotional guidance system. And we're going to dive into that in just a second, or in actually just a minute after we go through the break. So, just to lay the groundwork here, remembering that the book is about fears of choice. So the emotional guidance system is recognizing that we have a whole range of emotions. There's a whole scale of emotions from joy to pretended death. And there's all kinds of steps in between. And it's important to, it's interesting that it's delineated so powerfully, but it's even more important to recognize its role in our experience. As opposed to making us hyper emotional beings, I'm going to encourage us to see it as a guidance system, a way of helping us to uncover and understand more deeply who we are, how we are experiencing our life, and how we are creating our world because it speaks to our alignment. And we're going to get into that more shortly. But before we do, let's take a moment. Let's dive into a moment to focus. I love to do this every show. It's important to me that I put my money where my mouth is, as it were. And what I mean by that is I encourage everyone to have a daily practice. I encourage everyone to work with their breath, to work with their, with their energy every day so that you can become more and more conscious of how your energy works, how your energy flows, how you use energy. But more importantly, that you ultimately have the ability to manage your energy, however that is, wherever that is. So let's begin this point of focus. I want you to close your eyes, if you can, wherever you are. Relax into the place that you're in and begin the process of breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And allow that breath pattern to continue, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you do, I want you to focus your awareness. So you are sitting in your breath. I want you to focus your awareness into the center of your heart, right into the center of your chest. Just focus all of your awareness there as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Focusing on the breath, feeling and experiencing your breath as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you're continuing to breathe, I want you to be aware of how you breathe. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Notice where your breath goes as you take it in. As you inhale, where do you breathe? Do you breathe high? Do you breathe low? Do you breathe into your belly? Do you breathe into your abdomen? Do you breathe into your back? Do you raise your shoulders when you breathe? Do you tense when you breathe? Do you feel that you get all of your breath when you breathe? Meaning when you inhale, do you feel a sense of satisfaction at the expansion of the breath inside of you? And when you release your breath, do you feel a sense of satisfaction at the process of release of breath and engaging in this process of creation called breathing? And I call it a process of creation specifically as you continue to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. This is specific because every breath is a breath. You're taking in prana, you're taking in life force, you're taking in chi energy that is enlivening every cell of your body. Every particle of you is being enlivened by your breath. And so the more you understand breath, the more you work with your breath, the more powerfully you can manage energy, the more powerfully you understand your energy and how your system works. Because breath should be a conscious process. And get it, we are unconscious of it mostly, and we spend a large part of our days in that place. But I'm encouraging you to go there in a very conscious way so that you can begin to understand how to manage your energy. Okay? So as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, focus deeply into the heart space. Focus deeply into the heart space again as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you are focused into that heart space, I want you to now become aware of your field. And what do I mean by that? As your eyes are closed and you're breathing in and you're surrendering from the mouth, just be aware of the enormity of the energy that is expanding from this physical vessel, that is expanding out all the way around you in every direction. And notice how huge that energy is. You may not have paid attention to it before. You may not have really looked at it before, but I'm going to encourage you as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth to just be aware of your field of energy. And as you become aware of it, as each breath brightens this energy that you can look at, that you can see from the inside, become aware of how it feels, become aware of how it is in this current moment. And notice that as you purvey all of the 360 degrees of your field that's expanded around you and through you out into the universe, that you can see in that field as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, that there are areas that are a little denser than others, areas that are darker than others, areas that are more condensed than others. These are ideas, these are thought forms, these are emotional experiences that we keep in our field for whatever reason we do. Everyone has different reasons, but many times it's a trauma, or it's something that impacted us intensely, or it's something we don't understand, so we're holding it while we're trying to resolve it or understand it. And just notice how much of that is in your field. And I'm encouraging this as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, because I want you to become aware of all of these places that you hold energy in your field, because all of those places then restrict the flow of energy through you. So you are limiting your experience because all of these things are consuming your energy. And so with breath and with clarity, you can change that and shift these things away from your field and resolve them so that you have more energy available to you as you continue to create your environment, as you continue to create your world, as you continue to evolve in your own life experience. So focus into that as you feel and see that field. And I want you to now, as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, focus deeply into the heart space. I want you to command your field to come in to this physical body as best as you can. Just feel yourself commanding your energy to come into your heart space, just kind of intensifying this energy all around the heart. And as you do, you'll feel a warmth, you'll feel a tingling as that energy begins to fill you. It's a way of kind of being in contact with a greater part of yourself in a way that you may never have before. And feel into that and let that amazingness, let your body move around that. Feel it as it wants to fill all of the spaces and nooks and crannies of your being. And let it explore the inside of you so that you begin to build a relationship with the inside of this incredible vehicle that's carrying you through the jungles of time and space, as it were. Let yourself experience that. Let yourself feel that as you travel in your brain. Just quietly sit as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Sit in the brain cavity here. Sit in this skull with this amazing fluid that's holding this organ in place, this transmitter, this receiver. And that as you trace back and down along the brainstem into where it connects to the spinal cord, and then look at this incredible conductor of energy that's living right in the center of your being, up and down the spine, this conductor of energy, moving powerful forces, and knowing that anything along the line here can obstruct this, but you can keep it clear with breath. You can keep this channel open so that your creative mechanism is happening. This is where the caduceus lives, guys. The caduceus is the thing you see in medicine, the two snakes climbing the staff. It is the Ida Pingala. It's related to your breath through the nose. Ida Pingala comes up into the pituitary and down in the brain and spins around the spine. And it is what ignites the fire in your system. It's what ignites the creation in your life. It is the source of all things for you. So be aware of that. Then notice as you continue to explore, as the nerves that are moving off of the spine and moving to the organs and the tissues of the body, and become aware, just in consciousness, become aware of the extraordinary magic of this incredible vessel that you are a part of. Become aware of the systems that are operating in harmony without your attention at all. And it's amazing that it can maintain its own sense of harmony. But imagine how powerful it can be when you light it up, when you are focused into an alignment with this internal system. So what you eat, what you speak, what you feel, what you say, how you think, all contributes to the aliveness of this vessel. Is that incredible? Right? So, as you continue to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, let that consciousness roam around, let it expand and grow inside of you as it travels through the rest of your body, and just let yourself be informed by what it experiences. And if you notice there's a particular area of discomfort, just focus awareness and focus that incredible energy right into that space and breathe into it in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just focus, see that energy as this beautiful gold energy of all of you and focus it. Maybe you have some discomfort in a knee. Just surround that knee with all of your energy and then breathe into that space and let it dissipate, let it relax, let it be, and know that you contribute to your health by everything that you do. And breath is a huge part of that. And now we're going to focus into the breath. So I'm going to ask you to breathe with me on a counted form. We're going to inhale to a count of 4. We're going to hold at the top. We're going to exhale to a count of 6. And then we're going to hold at the bottom. And we'll get into that in more depth. But I want you to finish the cycle of breath you're in. And join me now as we focused on the inhale. As we inhale, 2, 3, 4, feel the chest expanding, feel the shoulders relaxed as you rest in that fullness, as you rest in that experience of fullness. Let that aliveness course through your body. And now purge and surrender that breath as you exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Letting all of that air go and now being in that space of void, being in the space of emptiness, letting yourself rest in that comfortably as you engage the lungs and inhale. 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Feel that fullness. Feel the expansion in the lungs. Feel that beautiful feeling of fullness as you choose to surrender it now. Exhaling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Now rest in that void space, in that space of anticipation, in that space of creation. As you engage the lungs, you inhale and call forth that life force energy. Inhaling it, 2, 3, 4, feeling full with that life force, feeling it ripple through your cells, through your body, through the atoms of who you are, and feeling the gloriousness of that expansion. And then consciously choosing to surrender it in the next moment as you exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. Purging it all the way down to the deepest parts so that you're prepared for the next evolution of creation. As you call forth the breath again, inhaling. 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh, feeling so amazing as the rapture of this energy continues to fill you, and then choosing to surrender it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and resting in that void, in that space of anticipation, in that space of preparedness for the next moment of creation as you carry on this breath process on your own, inhaling, carrying it forth as you pull all that air, expanding the lungs to their capacity, feeling that glorious fullness, and then resting in it as the shoulders and the neck relax, as the body is at peace with this fullness, and then choosing to surrender it right now as you exhale. And then let that exhale go to that count of 6, letting it all purge, letting it all go till you have nothing left, and then being in anticipation as you wait in that not no space, in that void, continuing to carry the breath forward as you engage again. Continue that breath, feeling the power of it as you continue this cycle of breathing. And as you do, just take these words and let them wash over you. Let them fill the space. Let them attend to whatever they may attend to. I am the evolution of God realized as matter. I inform and guide that expression as the pure expression of God. I show up as God. I connect as God. I align as God. I am creation realized. And from that, I create, I expand, and I engage. I am. And feeling that deeply and powerfully, feeling that completely through your whole being. And as you do, continuing to breathe, let your energy now release back out into the universe. See it as it leaves this body. Experience it as the light expands around you in every direction. Feel it as you feel the enormity of your field as it continues to expand beyond even your perception. Feel the expansiveness of all that you are. And be in that expansiveness as we come back to the show, as we dive into this chapter on emotional guidance. I hope that this creates a space for you to take this in a way that you've never taken it in before, that you can experience in a depth that you've never experienced it before. And we will carry on. Here we go. One of the core tenets of law of attraction is understanding our emotions and their purpose, or rather, where true alignment is. Put simply, when a question stimulates a negative emotional response, that response is an opportunity to understand how out of alignment you are with the truth of who you are. What this means is when you experience negative emotion, you are being informed clearly and in no uncertain terms that you and your higher self, God, universe, source, whatever you call it, are not seeing or experiencing the situation or circumstance in the same way. In other words, within this out of alignment experience, you and your higher self are not on the same page. How often have you been confronted by some task or opportunity that when you think about it, causes your energy to drop or spin, as I like to call it, a spin cycle? Meaning you begin a downward spiral of emotional and mental chatter. And the more you push into it, the worse it feels. So many of us have received the message from various self-help books to just push through our resistance and make it happen. And so it's no surprise you automatically assume that your inability or unwillingness to complete whatever it is you think you need to complete is because you are either being lazy, afraid, incompetent, or whatever language you typically choose. But regardless of the words, the result is the same. Your energy doesn't feel good, but you persist anyway. What I know with certainty is that when you do this, your results will not be what you anticipated or wanted. Even if you are successful by pushing through, you'll find that you are battered by interference after interference, delays, missed communications, misunderstandings. I mean, the list goes on. You may succeed in completing the task, but the likelihood is that you will not be happy with the results. And perhaps worse, will find yourself extremely frustrated by the process. In this situation, what you will recount is not the accomplishments, but instead the rehashing of the drama and frustration you experienced attempting to complete the task. Let me read that one more time. In this situation, what you will recount is not the accomplishment, but instead a rehashing of the drama and frustration you experienced attempting to complete the task. How many times have we heard that? How many times have you said it? How many times have you experienced it? I know I have. And I know immediately when I do it that I have to stop talking because I'm reinforcing what I don't want. It's not unusual to have people come in, and especially around work, and regale you of all the drama and craziness they had to go through to get this thing accomplished as a way of trying to get more acknowledgement for the accomplishment because they don't feel accomplished, because they forced, because they pushed, because they weren't running with the emotional guidance system. So when you are negatively focused this way, you will feel only a mild sense of accomplishment, if any, because of how awful the process was. What's shocking and disconcerting is that we actually think that this is normal and that this is the way life is supposed to be. But when you understand that your emotions, all of them, are your guidance system, you not only start to pay attention to how you feel, but you realize that your emotions are an incredibly powerful tool. Let's consider having a task or opportunity before us again, but this time we'll allow ourselves to be guided by our emotions. Say this task causes your energy to drop, creating a negative emotional state. The emotions you may feel, maybe mild irritation or frustration, sadness, maybe anxiety or depression, maybe apathy, or a combination or variation of these. At the moment you are able to recognize the emotion or emotions, there is only one thing to do: stop. Excuse me. I'm stopping for a quick drink. Again, at the moment you are able to recognize the emotions, there is only one thing to do: stop. And I hear you saying out there, I hear you. What? Stop? I can't do that. I have to act on this. I have to get this done. But trust me on this. At the moment you recognize that the situation is causing negative emotions for you, I want you to stop. And here's why. Your emotional guidance system is telling you that you, the small s self, and your higher self do not have the same viewpoint of this situation. In other words, your negative experience, expressed through ego and self, are two or more disparate energies seeking resolution. These energy are A, the situation, B, your reaction to it based on your beliefs, and C, the broader perspective of self, God, or the universe. The negative feeling and the intensity of it are showing you through feeling how far out of alignment with self, God, the universe, etc., you are in the moment. This means it's time to step away and assess. Or, number two, you are either not clear yet, don't have enough information about it, don't understand it correctly, or need more clarity regarding some aspect of it that you don't currently have. Therefore, it is time to step away and assess. I hope you caught all that. Very important stuff and very clearly delineated about what the potentials are and why it's so important to stop in the moment. If you begin to train yourself in that process, you will begin to build an intuitive energy about it so that you begin to understand how powerfully it is true that forcing anything will not get you the result you desire. It is at this point where you are likely to experience the strongest feelings of resistance, meaning that your mind will be in a spin cycle, or rather in a noise making and flawed logic making attempt to convince you that if you stop, you are a loser, a failure, a wimp, etc. It is vital to recognize that all of that chatter and noise is merely reaction created out of the mind and ego, which causes a highly charged negative emotional state, but is not, I repeat, but is not the current reality. We've been talking a lot on the show lately about this clarity of understanding what happens when you begin to go down this negative place. Whenever you encounter something that the mind or the ego is threatened by, it's going to go into the warehouse of the subconscious and seek similar vibration to support whatever your core vibration is going on at the moment. So if you're in a place of downward spiral, it's going to look for things relative to what you're doing, but relative energetically, meaning the frequency, the vibration is what it's looking for. So, in the warehouse of your energy, in this warehouse of subconscious, it pulls forth all of this information and starts to piece together a narrative for you. And it's all bullshit. It's all made up. It's none of it's real, and it's usually all about us making it about ourselves, and we'll get into that shortly. I'm going to talk about that a little later in the show as we dive into the two distinct perspectives you can look at this from. So again, but it is not the current reality, so don't attempt to push through it. Stop, breathe, assess. It only takes a moment, but by doing that, you are programming, you are stimulating change in your own psyche, in your own energetic field, because you're saying, wait a minute, I don't honor this in my field. I'm not going to push and stop through this. I'm going to step back because I want to know what I don't know. I want to understand what I'm not seeing. I want to learn what I need to learn to step in more powerfully. So recognize that you are not in alignment and don't try to immediately surpass it because you think it's brave, professional, expected, etc. thing to do. I recognize this will push a lot of people's buttons. As I said before, we've been trained to hold fast to beliefs like I must push through. I can get this done if I just grin and bear it. I'm an achiever. I must be a success, not a failure. Yet this is merely a manifestation of one of humanity's biggest myths. By use of will, I will achieve. Biggest myth. By use of will, I will achieve. Make no mistake, when you are in alignment, effort may be necessary, but struggle is not. There may be no more important takeaway in this chapter than this. So I want to be certain you take this in fully. Effort is about creating momentum in your energy toward that which you desire. You can activate this momentum by thought, by feeling, activity. Your effort is inspired by your alignment. On the other hand, struggle is a resistance that is created when you are not aligned and in attention to where your energy and emotional guidance system is attempting to guide you, and in resistance to where your emotional guidance system is attempting to guide you. Struggle is using will to push against what is perceived as unwanted, or in a way, in the way of what you think you want. Those little words get me. So you may be asking, is every emotion a message from our higher self guiding us toward our most aligned path? The answer is yeah. Similar to intuition or the God voice that speaks to you from inside, your emotional guidance system is always on. The question is, which voice am I paying attention to? Good question. We're going to take a quick break right here. Take that in. Which question? What was that last thing here? Which question? Which voice am I paying attention to? While we're on the break, think about that for a moment. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that even more deeply. We will be right back. Mm-hmm.
The Science of Transformation method, and I can't tell you the difference that it's made in my life.
This program is all about you coming into the greatest form of you. All right, guys, just a few quick words on the science transformation. Check it out. It's at sciencetransformation.com. You can, if you go to the website, you'll see an opportunity to set up a consultation. It's free. We can talk about the work that I do here in transforming fear, in helping you change your relationship with fear. My entire platform is about helping to ignite the prefrontal cortex of the brain and creating changes in the way you use your energy and being able to transform the experience of fear in your world so that you open up to a tremendous amount of potential and opportunity that you don't even know you're missing because you're so limited by the fear bubble that grips you. So check it out, sciencetransformation.com. Also, I offer an introductory package. I do sessions remotely. I do them in person. I would love to work with you and would love to introduce you to this powerful process of transformation. So the sciencetransformation.com. I appreciate it. Check it out. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll be right back. All right, we are talking today, Getting to Know Your Emotional Guidance System, Chapter 11, From Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love. That is the name of my book. You can order it on Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, what's the other one? Amazon. fearisachoicebook.com. Check it out. Coming up on the year anniversary. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys that have participated with my book. So as we carry on, we left off with a question. And that question was, which voice are you listening to? Which voice am I paying attention to? In all the significant events and decisions in your life that have given you some level of unrest or maybe even upended your life in some way, if you honestly examine them, you would recognize that your intuition and your emotional guidance system were giving you a signal of misalignment. First, by a feeling of your energy dropping. With the intuition, you may say, something told me not to do that, or a little voice warned me about that, or I had a gut feeling, but I ignored it. You may even you may even sense a screaming visceral no. What I mean by that is when you lean into something, when you I call it feeling into things. Whenever I go to do anything, I feel into it, and if my energy isn't there, I don't push because whatever the reason is, I've got to step back and sort through that. But there are sometimes where I'll be thinking I want to go do something, and it's not even a question of energy down; it's just a solid no. And I've become and learned over time to simply trust that because it never works out if I don't. Every time I push into it, it never resolves well, ever. I'm not saying that to be dramatic. It's simply true. Um, so, with the emotional guidance system, you may feel a surge of anything from uneasiness to being repelled, or emotions such as hurt, anger, depression, anxiety, and the like. It's important to note here that the stronger the emotion, the greater the need for you to gain understanding about your lack of alignment with that broader perspective we spoke of earlier. In either case, it's time to stop and assess. Side note, it is also important to remember that intuition always comes first. But if you are not aligned with that voice, you will then experience it through your emotional guidance system. Even a minor feeling of unrest deserves your examination. Remember, when this occurs, it is the moment to stop, sense the alignment or lack of it with your higher self source, gain more clarity, and disregard the mind chatter, and then make a decision. Let's take the following example and see if you can apply one or more of them as similar situations come up for you. I was 2 years into my podcast and things seemed to be cooking along nicely. My podcast partner and I had recently established a new vision for our work and the impact we wanted to create. Not long after, however, things began to unravel. The incidents that occurred over the next few weeks created deep upset and unrest inside of me. I found myself dreading doing the podcast, and I would sit in meditation day after day, seeking clarity and a resolution, while also encouraging myself and making every attempt to shift my energy. This went on for weeks. Although nothing had been resolved as yet, I would talk myself into a better place. Regardless, every time I was about to go on, my energy would bottom out and I'd have to really work to find some alignment for the show. I realized I had to make a big decision, but I also realized I was struggling with my own self worth, which was influencing the challenging experience too. And after 3 weeks of living in conflict, I came to realize that nothing in the entirety of my experience could change until I stepped into my clarity. And I finally found it during one of my meditations. The secret to releasing my energy was love. I surrendered to it, found clarity in my communication with my co host, and stepped completely into the necessary change. Once I crossed that threshold, everything started to flow and unfold in spectacular fashion. The concerns I had vanished, and I discovered a new clarity of my worthiness, which led me to even greater feelings and experience of alignment. Years ago, my editor received an inquiry from a prospective client with whom she felt a strong connection to his book's content, but right away felt unease with the author himself. This is a separate situation, sorry. The red flags were evident from the start, but she ignored them because she believed in the project and sincerely wanted to help this person bring the book to life. However, in ignoring her emotional guidance system signals that the partnership would be out of alignment with her, she ended up spending 4 of the most stressful, misaligned months working with this client. Now, if emotional red flags show up for a prospective partnership, she wastes no time heeding them and politely declines the opportunity as not being the best match. Um, let's see, we'll do this last one. A very dear friend was having serious issues with his marriage. He was unhappy and frustrated, and he wanted to make his spouse wrong about everything regarding their connection and alignment. He had created a grand litany of stories about this experience, built up an arsenal of evidence to support his viewpoint, and decided to have conversation with his spouse about ending their marriage. We worked on helping him to step into the situation from a win-win perspective, and he agreed not to approach the conversation until he was not in reaction or judgment. That took some time, and he continued to prepare his space until the night of the conversation arrived. And when it did, he approached it with clarity and love. And the conversation he thought he was going to have about getting divorced changed radically because of the work he did. As a result, they had one of the best connected conversations of their marriage, and they mutually agreed to move forward together in a much more conscious, open way. Of course, your emotional guidance system is always also working for all the positive emotions as well. In these cases, your emotions are like bumper guards in a bowling lane, demonstrating the power of your alignment. That powerful alignment is guiding you toward the things that light up your soul, utilize your gifts, and keep you in alignment with your higher self and universal flow. While these tend to be easier to follow, unless, of course, you're afraid of being happy, it's the signals we receive that let us know we're out of alignment with God, higher self, that we typically need to learn not to ignore. The thing is, we are likely to be as unconscious of the positive impacts of our emotional guidance system as we are the negative. But as you become more conscious and attend to your alignment, you will find that you simply begin to respond to your emotional guidance system wherever it is. If you are feeling good, you appreciate more and you consciously seek more of that good feeling and the things that created it. If you are feeling bad, you also appreciate more and consistently seek better feeling thoughts as you refocus your energy and vibration back to those things that you desire. And when it comes to fear in particular, it's critical to remember that fear is merely an emotion. And like all emotions, it's part of the emotional guidance system. In simple terms, whatever you fear and whenever you fear, you can be sure that your physical self and your higher self are not looking at it the same way. Why? Because if your higher self or source energy were in fear, your feelings of fear would be aligned with it, and there would be no rub or conflict. Let me say that again. If your higher self, source energy were in fear, your feelings of fear would be in alignment with it. But since your higher self never fears, whenever you experience fear, you are out of alignment with that all knowing source energy. And with that in mind, instead of internalizing the fear and possibly letting it consume you, simply take a deep breath. And you can say, I am out of alignment with my God and higher self right now. I am making up a story right now based on the situation I'm experiencing to suit my negative emotional response. Or excuse me, my negative emotional, yes, response. My higher self is having a different experience and I want to see from that perspective. I'm either projecting fear about something that will likely never happen, or I'm experiencing a sense of fear because my higher self, which knows everything, is not in fear, and I'm clearly out of alignment with that higher knowing. You can also repeat the phrase, I am aware of my emotions, therefore I am not my emotions. Powerful, powerful statement. I am aware of my emotions, therefore I am not my emotions. Once again, your emotions are not you. They are merely indicators of alignment with Source. And fear is only one such indicator. Fear is not fight or flight. That response is part of the survival instinct. Fear is an emotion, plain and simple. It's an important distinction that comes up a lot. Your system, the physical system, the egoic structure is designed with the fight, the sensors are filtered through the amygdala to this fight or flight mechanism, right? This is about survival. This is about the ego is here to keep your body on the planet. Your ego is here to run this physical vessel. And so when you experience life-threatening experiences, then the survival instinct kicks in. And in that state, I believe, in my experience, you become superhuman, not subhuman. The chemicals and the endorphins and all the things that are released in your body when that happens put you into a superhuman state, fine-tuned to whatever's going on, that you can make choices and decisions if you allow yourself to be fine-tuned. Fear, on the other hand, is an emotion that you can have to the circumstances based on stories that you're making up that have nothing to do with what's happening before you. So again, once again, your emotions are not you. They are merely indicators of your alignment with Source, and fear is just one of them. Fear is not the fight or flight mechanism. That response is your survival instinct. I hope that you will leave this chapter with the knowledge that you can trust yourself and your emotional guidance system. I guarantee that when you do, things will begin to flow much more easily in your life. Every time you honor this system, your clarity will become stronger. Your stress levels will reduce dramatically, and you will arrive at a better, more effective answers, solutions, and abilities with greater ease and tranquility. As you release resistance, i.e., negative emotions, you will easily come into alignment with God's source because that is natural, that is who we are. So when you release resistance, that is where your buoy goes. That's, again, in law of attraction, they talk about the cork floats. The cork will come back to the top of the surface because you're no longer putting the resistance in there to hold it down. And when you come into alignment, life becomes about ease and flow, not struggle. Remember, we talked about struggle and effort before. Even better, once you are in alignment, you are no longer able to be manipulated by or with fear. Read that one more time. Once you are in alignment, you are no longer able to be manipulated by or with fear. And that is the end of chapter 11. Pretty cool stuff. And what I want to talk about here now as a part of this is these two distinct perspectives. This is my addition to this chapter in understanding how this works. We are a dualistic being in the sense that we have an ego consciousness, which is here to run the physical body. It's attached to the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the touch. And all of that information is filtered into the back of the brain. And it's just simply assessing the environment. Am I safe? Am I good? What's going on? It is like watching a movie. It is seeing what you are perceiving and what you are seeing, and it is responding to that. And remember, though, that your perception is your ideas, your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions projected out into the world, and that's what you're getting to see back. So you're seeing yourself again and again and again and again. So, from that egoic perspective, you can experience emotions in a very base way. You can experience them as an emotional human being. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Please understand, I'm not judging any of it. I'm simply providing information and a platform for understanding it more powerfully. It becomes an emotionally driven life. So, the reason I say that is it's very simple. In the egoic experience, we make everything about us. So every time something happens and we have an emotional response, we make it about us. When we feel hurt by another person, we make it about us. They hurt us. They did that to us. Therefore, we are hurt and rejected and absent. Right? That's a very egoic response. It's all about me response. When you are aligned to the higher self, when you're aligned to that God part of you, you don't make anything about you because nothing is about you. Much of everything is not about you. When when someone in your life does something that may impact you, they are doing that for their reasons, which largely have nothing to do with you. And even if they may have something to do with you, it's still not about you. It's about them. Just like your reactions are about you. Your reactions are coming from within. They're not coming from without. You're having an energetic experience that's hitting your field, and you're going in and producing a story about it and then vomiting it out as though it were real, and it's not. And I promise you, if you can take the time, even for a few minutes in every given day, once time a day even, to just experience it that one time when you have a negative emotion and you stop in that moment and ask yourself, how have I made this about me? You will find out immediately how you have turned the circumstance of whatever's occurring into something that's about you so that you can feel badly about whatever that experience is, which is purely egoic reaction, right? On the other side, when you are aligned in higher self, what happens is that something occurs in your world and you feel that discord, you feel that, and you stop and you go, "Ooh, what was that? Why am I suddenly feeling this?" And then you begin to look at it from a different perspective. You see it from the view from 50,000 feet instead of the view of it being on you. And that view of 50,000 feet is extraordinary because it's giving you perspective and understanding in ways that the ego doesn't have the ability to. And so you don't become mired in the emotions, although, to be honest, there are sometimes the intensity is pretty powerful, but it's easier to sit in them because you know they're not you. You know they're ultimately not real. They are a reaction to something. What is that something? Now, it could be very much related to what's in front of you, but again, are you assessing it from the ego or are you assessing it from the soul? And this is where sometimes it can get a little hairy because the ego wants to hold on with all of its might. The ego wants to take that and just, this is the way it is. I'm being undermined, I'm being hurt, I'm being this, I'm being that, I'm being yuck. And the reality is, none of those things are true. Is it true that occasionally people do things to try to hurt us intentionally? Yeah, they do. But if you are not attached to the emotion, then you are not going to have that response. And even if you do, you can stop and say, hold on, I just made that about me. And that had nothing to do with me. That person's rage, that person's anger, that person's whatever doesn't have to do with me. Now, again, you got to be responsible for your own stuff. If you instigate a situation being unconscious and you stimulate that response in another human being, you have to also own that. But that's also not being in ego, that's being in alignment, because you recognize, oh my goodness, I in the moment didn't realize the words coming out of my mouth were going to create that impact. It created that impact. I am now suffering the cycle of that impact. My thought went out, my words came out, it pinged on the environment. Now I'm getting feedback. The feedback is you're an ass. And you go, yup, time out. And at that moment, if you recognize that, there is no energy, because you simply stop and say, wow, please accept my apology. I was a total ass right there. And you are right. I had no business doing that, because you took the it's about me out of the equation, and you brought love back to the situation. There may still be dialogue to have between the two of you about something that occurred, or there may not, because it could be all made up from your end. I just recently had that experience. It gets made up on your end, and then you're telling stories that aren't true to support the emotion that you feel, which is not good, to keep you feeling not good. Why? Stop. Step back, whoop, step back, let's step back. So those are the two distinct perspectives. And we are out of time. Ha ha! So I hope I provided all that for you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being a part of this show. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate having the opportunity to get to share this stuff with you and to talk with you about it. I would love to hear your comments about the show, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook. Please leave a comment. Let me know how you like the show. Let me know what impacted you the most about the show. And if you have ideas about the show, don't hesitate to reach out either. I'd love to dive into new topics. As you know, we've been at this for a little over 2 years, coming up on 200 episodes, everybody. Super excited about that. But thank you for joining me. I wish you an amazing weekend. Thank you for being a part of the Adventures in Truth family, and have an extraordinary night. Talk soon. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Adventures in Truth Livecast. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you'd like to learn more about Jim's book, Fear is a Choice: Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love, check it out at www.fearisachoicebook.com. Also check out Moments of Truth, a new offering from Adventures in Truth. If you'd like to work with Jim, check out www.thesciencetransformation.com to book a session. Tune in live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and every Friday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Or look for our new releases and podcasts every Monday. Until next time, be well, and we'll see you again on Adventures in Truth Livecast.